Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. This is Pamela, and you are watching Pam Entertainment TV, where we review movies, television series, and incidents in pop culture, just to see how those incidents affect our daily lives. Listen, honey, we are hovering in here in this Atlanta cinematic universe, the ACU, because, baby, Danny Glover knows he's taking us on this ride for this last season. I am interested. Let's go into this episode. I will tell you right now, there's a deeper meaning to this episode that I am not getting. So I think that if I just discuss the things that I saw, you all let me know down in the comments what you think. Again, I'm Pamela, and this is Pam Entertainment TV. Please like and subscribe to this channel. I appreciate you all joining me on this journey of doing these reviews. And if you like what you see, hit that subscribe button. Also hit that notification bell so you can be notified of all the videos that I upload. Engage me in the comments, y'all. I really, really like it when you engage me in the comments. I appreciate it. Please tell your family, tell your friends, tell your coworkers, and tell them folks that you can't stand that I'm over here making these videos. Help me, help you see me. Now that we've gotten that out the way, let's talk about this episode of Atlanta. I believe this is episode, oh Lord, it's 6 or 7. I'll have it down here in the description bar. It's entitled Trini to the Bone. So I'll just go over the overview of what this episode was basically about. There is a childminder, a housekeeper, or a nanny. I will go through those three terms, but I'm meaning the same thing. She is a woman who is an in-home sitter, maybe for that fourth term, for this wealthy, this upper middle class family in New York. Apparently she has passed away. So this upper middle class family has relied on Sylvia to take care of their child, Sebastian, from day to day, so they can go out and they can work and they can do all those things that you want to do. So we have the father who seems to be on his grind, but he's level-headed. And then we see Sebastian's mother. She is on her grind, but she's also, she likes for things to fit neatly within itself. So what I mean by that is she doesn't like for anything. She doesn't like for emotions to change. She doesn't like for anything. Everything has to say and fold neatly within itself. If not, she just falls apart. So, and then we have Sebastian, who is like a 5 or 6 year old. He's somewhere in that age because I know that he's in kindergarten right now. So, we have this family. The father is jogging through New York City. The mother is getting ready for work. The father comes home and he still sees his son sitting there, with the headphones on. He's like, where is Sylvia? Why isn't she here? Why is he still here? He's supposed to be in school. She's like, I can't get to Sylvia. Sylvia didn't show up. So then there's this knock at the door. So at the knock at the door, it's a voracious knock. It's like, and so they go to the door, they look down on the ground, and there is this package, and this is this package for Sylvia. So in the meantime and in between time, there's a telephone call that is had, and the father picks up this telephone call, and he is now being made aware that Sylvia has passed away. So Sylvia won't be coming to pick up Sebastian. So the parents are panicking because they don't seem to have a plan B for Sylvia not being there. So the mother is having to take the child to school. They debate whether or not that they're going to tell Sebastian about Sylvia's death. They go back and forth. They finally decide that they're going to tell Sebastian about the death. And Sebastian wants to go to the funeral. They go back and forth and they go back and forth. And then they decide, okay, we're going to take Sebastian to this funeral. Now, the package is going to be the interesting thing because the father decides, well, since it's a package for Sylvia, I'll just return it to sender and tell them, that she no longer lives here. He gives it to the doorman to do that. Now this is before they go off to the funeral. The package comes back. Second attempt. The father is a little curious because he's like, I just sent this back. The doorman sent the package back. Why are they sending back? Please keep that in mind. So the family goes to the funeral. Baby. We go to the funeral, and the family meets the daughter for the first time. They go and tell her, oh, we're so sorry for your mother's loss. She's like, well, my mother has told me a lot about you, Sebastian. And we find that Sebastian has a lot of Sylvia's ways, which you can tell is to the curiosity and the chagrin of mommy. And, the father is just looking like, oh, okay. So let's be introduced to these characters that are at this funeral. So we're introduced to this white man that they sit down next to, and he is speaking with that island speak like he's somebody from Trinidad, but we find out that he is a child that Sylvia has raised and babysat. There's two people in front of the white couple, and hopefully I'll have some of the pictures showing you what I'm talking about right up in this area somewhere. This man got 45 jobs, honey. He is doing so many things. He even tells you when he has time, he can install your television. You hear me? They meet him. So then the pastor comes. He says, I'm a little late. He's on Trini time. And they start the eulogy. So the eulogy starts. And it's interesting because we find out how rich all the things that Sylvia has done for her family and for her community. We find out that when Sylvia came to New York from Trinidad, she was a dancer for the Alvin Ailey group, which is a prominent black ballet and contemporary, and there's another word for the type of dance that they do, troupe up in New York. And it's also a school. So we find out that she did that. We find out that she was working and she was sending money home to her family. Now, when we hear about this, the pastor does a wonderful eulogy for Miss Sylvia. But that is to the chagrin of one of her daughters, and it looks like the eldest daughter. The white family of Sebastian is very interested in the fact to find out that, Sylvia has done all these things and that Sylvia's nephew is in the NFL. And they're like, oh my gosh, she how come we didn't know that she had a nephew in the NFL? Because you didn't have a conversation with the woman. All you needed for her to do is to take care of your child. You had no conversation. You chose not to know anything about this woman other than if she's going to pick up your baby, feed your baby, and put your baby to sleep. So, in honor of Miss Sylvia, a dance troupe that she started in the local high school, they were going to do an interpretive dance to her favorite song. Was it Sweet T&T? And they go in and they do their interpretive dance, and they are really showing out. And also I want to point out about little Sebastian, honey, as the pastor would throw out something, the baby would be like, yes, amen, yes. What does that tell you? Miss Sylvia was taking that baby to church, probably inundating him with all of her culture. Mm-hmm. 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 Y'all don't really be minding the child minders. Just letting you know. Just letting you know. Anyway, like I said, there's this deeper meaning going on here that I am not abreast of. But like I said, I'm going to go back and give you the information, and then we're going to have a little conversation about it and have a conversation down in the comments about it. So the eldest daughter gets up, and as you would understand she is upset. She is missing her mother, and she is missing her mother to the point where she felt like her mother working so much took her away from them, and that as her mother was working and minding other children, she wasn't minding her own, which is probably one of the truer and truest statements that would be said. So she goes back and forth with her siblings, saying, uh, where was she? Where was she? And when this was happening, so apparently there had been some things that had happened to them. Somebody broke into their home and stole their stuff. We hear that the son had been jumped and I guess had been hospitalized because the eldest sister, who was upset, was saying she couldn't find him for a day. And then, she couldn't, her mother didn't come to see what was going on. So she's upset. So she gets to hitting the casket because she's so upset. Because like I said, she's missing her mother. She's grieving her mother. And at the same time, she didn't spend as much time as she wanted to spend with her mother. So then that sends the church into disarray. You got somebody standing up telling the girl that she's crazy. And then some guy was like, no, you ain't finna, I guess it was her husband. Like, you ain't finna call her crazy. Hey. And then they get to fighting. Honey, Miss Sylvia's sister is so upset. Her sister gone. She don't know what she gonna do. That woman started going into the casket, trying to go with her sister. Just take me with you. Just take me with you. So you remember the guy that I was telling that was sitting in front of the white family? He gets up to the mic because at this point, that family is scared. No, excuse me. Scared. Honey, they was clenching invisible pearls. She was clenching her baby. She was clenching everything the mama was, and they was getting out the door. The man said, y'all calm down because y'all scaring the white people. And they're like, oh no, we're not scared. We're not this. We're not that. And the man asked the little boy, Sebastian, he says, are you scared? And Sebastian says, yes. And he says, well, we're sorry. We didn't mean to scare you, but this is just how we grieve. And everybody was upset. Everybody calmed down. And I guess they went on with the funeral. And I guess they went on with the wake. We then end up at the parents' home. The father is very interested in the fact that, Sylvia was a limbo dancer. She was this. And he was talking to his wife saying, do you know what the origins of this limbo is? Da-da-da-da-da. The wife is upset. I don't think we did the right thing. I don't think we should have told him anything about it. We should have did that. These people were arguing, fussing. He was like, we did the right thing. He needed to be there. He needed to say his last thing. We can't. You can't control how a family is going to react to death. We are fine. And she's like, I just can't have Sebastian be upset with me like they were upset with their mother. Again, a lot of that had to do with, were you minding? You're a child minder. Did you know anything? You knew nothing about her. What you knew was she came with a good resume. She came with, she bonded with your child. She took care of the day-to-day stuff. And you never asked her anything about who she was, what she was doing. Now, the person in the house that knew all this information was Sebastian. And the father was correct. He did need to take Sebastian there because Sebastian, out of all of them, Sebastian seems to be the one at peace. He had the ability to tell Sylvia goodbye and good night. So then in the middle of the night, you hear this knock on the door. And this time it goes longer. And it goes to the point because as soon as the man hits the bottom step, it stops. He opens the door. This is the father. And that package, and you can see all the stamps where it has been stamped like 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 times because it keeps coming back to them. I don't know why they didn't get the package and then give it to one of the kids. They should have taken the package to the funeral. They knew they were going. But they didn't do that. So the father is like, at this point, he's like, what is this? He opens the package. And when he opens the package, he sees where Sylvia and Sebastian have taken pictures. And how they have, these are studio quality pictures. They look They looked nice. They went to the studio and took some very nice pictures. And it was something about her expression and something about Sebastian's expression. They almost mimicked each other. Because people smile and you have the uniqueness of your smile. Because for me, me smiling doesn't, I look phony when I smile, so I don't do a lot of smiling, but I will smirk, and you can hear in my voice, whether or not the intonations in my voice, you can suss out how I'm feeling or anything like that. But me smiling, like if people just take that little natural smile, you see how phony that looks? And this is a really pretty smile. But it doesn't look genuine. And I don't know if it has anything to do with the way my eyes are set or anything like that, but every time I take a picture, my smiles never look that genuine. Now, if I'm doing something like, I guess it's more expressive. It looks more genuine, but just for me to stand out and do a smile, it doesn't look so genuine. But I just noticed in that picture, and I'll try to see if I took one and I took a picture with my phone of the screen. Their smiles seem to be mimicking each other. Like every picture that they took, they seemed almost to be, they looked related. I don't know if that's the right thing to do. It's not related, but familiar. That they are so familiar with each other that they've taken on each other's characteristics. I hope I'm saying that right. But that's the way those smiles looked to me. And the father looked very curious about that. But that's how it looked to me. And that's the way it ended. Okay. Now, again, I think that there is such a deeper meaning in here that I did not grasp. But I can just tell you the things that I did grasp. Number one, you had a class issue. That the white parents were so into themselves and they felt like Sylvia was beneath them to the point that they didn't really engage her enough to know about her. Because I remember a scene in this episode when the mother was clearing away some of Sylvia's things. She seemed to be very either oblivious or knowledge. Oh my gosh, she had so many things left here. The woman lived there. And she stayed over for long periods and possibly had to stay overnight. So of course she would have clothes and things that were over there. And because she was clearing out, looked like her room. And so I was like, wouldn't she have some stuff there? What was she thinking that she would have? She needed clothes and things, with toiletries and things like that. Because all she looked like she was clearing was a couple of wigs, a couple of coats, looks like a couple of dresses, and then some toiletry stuff. But she seemed to be annoyed that this woman who was taking care of their lives had made place in their lives. I noticed that. The second thing that I noticed when we were at the funeral was the family. Even though they were family, there were some disconnect because you can tell that because I don't know where Sylvia's husband or the children's father was, but you can tell that Sylvia, position in her family, she was taking on a role where she was the provider, the mother, the sister, the interpreter, all of that for her family who has come from Trinidad. And it seems like she worked very hard, but she could only get like one sister or a couple of siblings here to the United States, but her other brothers and sisters she couldn't get to the United States. And that seemed, as the pastor was talking, that seemed to be a very sore spot for Sylvia, that she wanted to but she sent money home. Every year she sent money home. So she was, in essence, to me, that family member that was doing the best she can. She was taking care of her family at home, and then she had her nuclear family that she was taking care of, and then she had the family, the being a childminder, she had that family. Then she had her sister. So she had her hand in so much stuff that she couldn't concentrate on a lot of things, and hence why you saw the eldest daughter upset, because the eldest daughter probably was upset and felt like she had to take on a parenting role when her mother could not. That was the other thing that I took. And again, like I said, the last thing that I took from this episode, besides the disconnect between the family and their childminder, the closeness that Sylvia and Sebastian had. I mean, Sylvia and Sebastian was so close. He seemed like he was indoctrinated into who Sylvia was and who Sylvia's culture was. And that's why I said at the beginning, mind your childminders. And this is not a bash on anybody who does that profession. This is just a call out for the parents that allow other people to take care of your children. It benefits you to know that, because whether you realize it or not, these are people that are part of your family. These are people who you are entrusting your children with. What they know, they're going to instill into your children. So you need to know what's going on, because I was dumbfounded how that mother was like shocked that her son knew all of this stuff and knew all the call outs and all this other stuff, that she was shocked by that. And I was like, that tells me that you spent not nearly as much time engrossed in your child, other than the fact that you had this child, to say that you are a mom and you wanted to have that. Remember, I talked about that neat little box of motherhood. Motherhood is not neat in a box. Motherhood can be messy and can be challenging and all those different things. So you left all of that for Sylvia. And that was just another interesting point. It was interesting to know that the siblings, the son seemed to be resided, the fact that his mother did the best she could. The daughter, the youngest daughter, seemed to be resided into that same point as well. But the eldest sister, bless her heart, she missed her mother and she wanted to be with her mother. I did talk about the photos. Like I said, the photos, like I said, there is a deeper meaning going on here I did not catch. Those are the things that I caught. Tell me what y'all caught. Was there anything that I talked about that you noticed? Was there something that you noticed that I did not talk about? Y'all leave that down in the comments for me. Again, this is Pamela with Pam Entertainment TV. Please like, comment, and subscribe down there. I will be pushing another video out for you this week. I will be doing a what's going on with my channel video pretty soon, because like I said, we are losing... I will be reviewing Young, Famous in Africa, the last episode, and my conclusions of that episode, and then we have lost that episode. So I'm going to pick up some new shows. So I'm going to tell you what those new shows are. If you want to be ahead of the game and you want to recommend a show for me, hey, leave it down. Email me at PamEntertainmentTV@gmail.com. Leave it in the comments under this video if you are interested in a show that you would like for me to watch. I am doing Moon Knight. This episode of Moon Knight was very heavy and a little triggering for me. So I am going to review it when the next episode comes out. So I apologize to my Moon Knighters who watch faithfully. I will get that video to you as soon as possible. I need to be in a better headspace so that I can review that. Other than that, as always, people, bye-bye.